Welcome inside the State Champs Network studios. My name is Lauren Plant. Joining me today is my co-host on the Poolside podcast, David Żółkiewski. He's a longtime coach at both the high school and club level, and he's also the web developer for the Michigan Interscholastic Swim Coaches Association. Thanks for being here.
Excited to be here. Been a great year.
It sure has. This is another State Champs at the State Finals show featuring the 2021-2022 Boys Swimming State Championships. Holland Aquatics, Oakland University, and Calvin University were the sites this year. How did you feel everything came together and was executed this season?
Oh, I mean, you couldn't have asked for anything better. I mean, just the kids trained great, and the three host sites did an amazing job. Lots of energy, and great to pack the stands and just see some great swimming and some incredible diving this year.
All right, well, let's go and begin our coverage in Division I. When it comes to Michigan high school swimming, one thing stands true. Ann Arbor Pioneer knows championships. In fact, if you take a look at just the last 50 years, between the boys and the girls, 35 team state championships for the Pioneers. Now, the boys won their second straight here in the 2021-22 season, and it wasn't close. On the strength of depth and relays, 365 points. Northville finished runners-up with 267 points. Holland West Ottawa third with 195 points. David, your thoughts on the swim program at Pioneer?
Oh, I mean, what else can you say? I mean, the history's been there. They have just developed that. The middle school kids are coming up. They look forward to the opportunity to don the purple and white, and everything from what Denny and Liz Hill were doing to now Steph Kurska and her staff, just incredible all the way around.
For each division, David is going to point out 3 peak performances. So what were your most important takeaways from Division I?
Well, with that dominant win the Pioneer had, I think you look into the middle of that meet, and that 500 freestyle was just awesome. They finished 1-2 there, and I got some notes here. Ryan Hume ends up 5th all-time in Michigan high school history. It's pretty incredible. With a team like Pioneer with that many state championships, if you're going to be breaking a school record, you're probably going to be one of the most elite swimmers or divers in the state, and he certainly did that. Theo Jaworski won the 200 free early on and then finished the second to give Pioneer that 1-2 punch. At that point, you're looking at a 37-point bump, and when you're winning by almost 100, there's two big swims right there. So that was awesome. The 4 free relay, I think, at the end of the meet really capped it off nicely for Pioneer. They know the meet's done, they got it all wrapped up, but they go out there and they take care of business. Not only are they breaking a school record, but they're putting up the 4th fastest time ever in MHSAA history. Again, I mean, you could be celebrating, you could be, real safe starts and having some fun maybe a little bit, but no, these guys took care of business. They really wanted to leave their mark, and they certainly did. So that was awesome. And for Pioneer, that one standout swim, Jack Wilkening. I mean, what can you say? Dream team member from Miska, outstanding. Takes care of business in the 100 free, wins the championship, finishes second in the 100 back, and the question comes up, well, how can he be swimmer of the meet if he's finishing second? And you got Jack Van Houw out of Rochester. We talked about this a little bit on our postseason podcast. Wins one of the few individual state championships that Rochester's had for them. And Jack's time is the 2nd fastest ever in MHSAA history. So for Jack Wilkening then to finish second behind him, it's pretty impressive. His point totals are still really, really high. So Jack Van Houw, nice job, but Jack Wilkening takes care of business. And then Jack Wilkening is also part of that medley relay that won, and then he's heading off to U of M next year. So you're getting a big-time D1 athlete and somebody who showed it this weekend with just 4 outstanding performances.
Outstanding. All right, let's move on to the meet that both David and I attended. Me as the cameraman, David representing Miska. The Division II state finals at Oakland University. And again, it was a school from Ann Arbor that stole the show. Of the 12 races, Ann Arbor Skyline won 6 of them, and that was enough to land the Eagles their first state crown since 2018, finishing with 291 points, 25 points ahead of U of D Jesuit, who took second. Now, rounding out the top 3 was Grosse Pointe South, who finished with 238 points. So, David, Skyline came into the day, the second day of competition, the team to beat, and they never looked back.
Absolutely. We talked to Mojo after the meet, but early on in the meet, she said we're out in front and a little nervous, right? There's only one way for us to go, but those boys had an incredible prelims and took care of business then in finals, capped it off with some exciting relays and some good diving and just all around I think as she put it, just a great team environment the whole way through this season. That propelled those boys to give them those extra swims.
Yeah, and this was a really, really close-knit group, so they go out on top. When you look at your 3 peak performances in Division II, what were they?
Yeah, I start off with the 200 medley relay. First time for us, I'm at the girls' state meet this year, and we had some, fan restrictions and stuff, so we didn't quite feel that big meet vibe.
Right.
But that medley relay walked out to that pump up music, and all of us, goosebumps, maybe a tear or two in your eye, stands packed. It was so exciting, and Grosse Pointe South just fed off that. They break the D2 meet record in the medley, and just impressive swim there. I thought that was awesome. Those boys just jumping up and down, smacking the water, and that just set it off because you had a nice 3-team race. Grosse Pointe was in there for a bunch of it. UAD with some really strong swims, and Skyline just outstanding. So that medley relay was a lot of fun to watch. Again, I liked the 500. You and I were underneath the scoreboard filming that 500. You got Sean Diffenderfer out of Walled Lake Northern. We talk a little bit. You see the Pioneers and the Skylines, but you're a lone swimmer, right?
Yep.
Just did an outstanding job. He gets out early in that 500, but Gus McDonald out of Groves, you've seen this kid doing some great stuff. His name's all over record boards all over Oakland County. And he swims a really smart race. Lots of 27s. If you go look at his splits, all his 50 splits, 27s, and he's inching ahead of Sean. And then that last 100, you see Sean start picking it up. And where Gus keeps holding those 27s, which my type of coaching, that's what I would look for out of one of my athletes. And Sean just dug deep, found that swim. He splits a 26 on the back half of that, that last 50, and wins by, just a stroke or so. And it was fun. Usually you see that excitement in a 50. And these two guys were doing it in the 500. Side by side, they're drafting off each other. They're right against that lane line. They didn't separate and get away from each other. They were, sometimes breathing into each other's faces that whole way, and that was great. So that was a really fun race. I like that. And your swimmer of the meet, member of the dream team, Evan McKelvey out of Skyline. Just, again, outstanding performance. Takes care of the 200 free and the 100 free. Which was great. Just splits look really well. Outstanding sprinting, some really close races, got his hand on the wall early. But he also leads off their 200 free and their 400 free relay, putting together some splits that, his leadoff swim could have been fast enough to score in the individual event. So showing the depth of the of his talents and stuff like that, I think is awesome. And his times in a lot of his events, again, top 16 all time in MHSAA history, and just shows a lot, how dominant Skyline was. And I think with those 3 teams, we were looking at UAD and Grosse Pointe, and Skyline started creeping up. I think that the body of work all season, and we heard it from Mojo, we mentioned it, there was just good, strong, positive energy all year long. It was so much fun coaching those kids. They had an awesome league meet. Get in there, and they just leapfrogged ahead of them and out of the other 2 teams, and just had a great state meet. So yeah, all the way around, nice performance out of Skyline.
Yeah, absolutely. And we did have a couple of 1-2s in some events, between UD Jesuit and Collins and his teammate, and then also with Matthew Lee and McKelvey. So, great time had by all. Yeah. We go back to the west side of the state, Calvin University to be exact, for the Division III state meet. And like Pioneer in Division I, we had another champion boasting a sweet repeat. Yeah. And like Pioneer in Division I, this team also carries the nickname the Pioneers. Yeah. So East Grand Rapids rosters barely a dozen swimmers, yet found a way to finish with 272 points. Holland Christian a distant second with 214 points. Spring Lake took third with 191. Now overall, these Pioneers have 51 state championships between the girls and the boys programs. This was the 7th time in school history both the boys and the girls have won in the same year. What can you say about East Grand Rapids?
I think it all starts with Butch Briggs, the head coach. He is outstanding. He's a great teacher and a great mentor, and he has just built a solid program. They get the kids excited. You got your middle school kids always looking forward to getting out there and doing some great things. They swim and dive just with such class and great sportsmanship and just real dominant performances. Their names are all over the record boards as well. First and foremost, it starts with Butch. He sets the tone for that team, and those kids believe in him and believe in what they can do, and they see it year after year. I can be part of something great, and I've got to go give the best to do that, and that's what you see.
And that's what they did. When it comes to peak performances, I know you have 3 at least, but there was one that truly stood out and made everyone speechless. I can't say it. They say that records are meant to be broken, but this one stood for 41 years.
Yeah, outstanding. Charlie Bear, we featured him on the podcast early on, broke either a pool record or a school record at EGR, and did a great job at the MISC meet this year. Didn't break the MISC record, but you saw him creeping up, and goes out there and breaks Bruce Kimball's 41-year-old state record. It's the oldest state record, boys and girls. Bruce was a silver medalist in the Olympics,
right.
And just so many great things to say about the Kimball family, and his dad coached at Michigan for so long. But yeah, Charlie goes out there, and you just saw the performances all year long. You just broke that record by 6 or 8 points, something like that. But it's just outstanding. Young man's doing some real special stuff. I've got, he's on the dream team. He broke the Calvin pool record. You got a high school kid with a college pool record, pretty incredible. And he's heading down to South Carolina next year. So looking forward to see what he's going to do down there. A lot of our in-state kids usually head in Big Ten, but going to be heading south for some warmer weather, and looking forward to seeing him at NCAA's hopefully down the road.
Absolutely. What else?
So I thought the 100 fly was awesome. We mentioned on the podcast during the year, Pinckney's got 2 great butterflyers. They were 2 of the 3 or 4 fastest butterflyers in the whole state on the same team, and Tyler Ray grabs our dream team swim there with his 47.93 time in the 100 fly, second fastest ever in MHSAA history. I mean, it's just outstanding. Again, you hear the Ann Arbor Pioneers and the East Grand Rapids Pioneers, but Pinckney. And this young man is training year round, doing some awesome stuff. So great job to him. And then I thought the 100 breaststroke was another fun swim. This is one, I don't know, I continue to scratch my head. That was, the 100 breaststroke record was one that stood forever. And now the gentleman who had that record for so many years is almost off the top 16 list, because there's so many great things going on, a lot of changes in that stroke. But Andrew Drobozansky from Milan breaks his own D3 record. Thought that was incredible. He's 5th all time in MHSAA history, and right behind him, Ethan Schaub out of Cranbrook is 6th all time in MHSAA history, and both of them just did an outstanding job. 54 on the 100 breaststroke. A few years ago, you wouldn't have thought about that. Now these kids are doing it in mid-season meets, and those 2 guys had an awesome swim out of D3, and great job to Andrew. He's heading out west, I think Arizona next year to swim. And,
all right.
Some incredible swims.
Yeah, no doubt. Incredible weekend, and congratulations to all our brand new swimming state champions. And I want to thank you for watching this year's state champs at the Boys Swimming State Finals show. If you love the boys swim season, you'd like to hear some great insight by some really good coaches that we had a chance to talk to, go check out some of the State Champs Poolside podcast episodes from this past season. You can find the audio version of the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We also have video versions of the program on the State Champs website, statechampsnetwork.com, and the State Champs Net YouTube page. David, thanks again for all you do for high school swimming and swimming in general, and being a part of both the boys and girls editions of the podcast.
It's been great. I love doing it. Thank you so much for what you give to our athletes, and happy to do it year in, year out.
That's it. Awesome. That's it for now. My name is Lauren Plant. Thank you for watching this edition of State Champs at the State Finals.
State Champs at the State Finals is presented by Lawrence Technological University. LTU offers over 24 varsity sports for men and women, along with several dozen world-class undergraduate programs. Athletic and academic scholarships are available in all sports. Visit LTUathletics.com and recruit yourself. Also brought to you by the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. The Detroit Medical Center Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine Pros. Do you have a sports injury, or are you just looking to take your game to the next level? Go where the pros go. Visit dmc.org/gamechangers. Goodman Acker Law Firm. Our clients come to us during one of the most difficult periods of their life. After an accident or injury, call Goodman Acker today at 1-800-TRUSTED. EA Graphics. Get your official MHSAA championship merchandise at shopmhsaa.com.